Hey everybody, welcome to Play, Ranked, Share, the show where I cover the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PlayStation 5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyrus, and this episode is focused on 22 PS5 games to watch in 2022. 2022 looks to be a very promising year for the PS5. There's a wide array of different titles coming to the console, from giant blockbuster hits to smaller indie games trying something different. I had some difficulty narrowing down the list to just 22 games, as there are so many exciting things on the horizon and even more that we don't know about yet. In this episode, I'm going to give you a rundown on 22 upcoming PS5 games with confirmed 2022 release dates that I think you should be keeping your eye on. I do want to note that this list is in alphabetical order and is not based on how excited I am for the titles. Make sure to leave a comment about what game you are looking forward to the most, and with that out of the way, let's jump in. Arc Raiders was just recently revealed at the Game Awards and will be a PvE free-to-play multiplayer experience. The game is being developed by former members of DICE, bringing an impressive litany of experience developing online-centered shooters. I am interested to see how a story develops through this game and the lore behind the Raiders. In the trailer, the sci-fi robotic enemies looked like a fun opponent to fight against on top of stunning visuals. I look forward to learning more about this game later this year. The only trailer for the Callisto Protocol released back in December 2020 at the Game Awards, but this survival horror game is set in the PUBG universe and seems to have immense potential. Callisto Protocol is from new developer Striking Distance Studio that is headed by Glenn Schofield, who created the Dead Space franchise. The trailer establishes how this game will be an intense, dark horror experience, and I'm intrigued by the setting of it as it takes place on a moon in Jupiter. While I think there's a good chance this game gets delayed outside of 2022, I am excited to see the potential of a truly next-gen survival horror experience. Dying Light 2 Stay Human will be the first big PS5 release of the year when it finally comes out on February 4th. The original Dying Light launched in 2015, and we are just a few weeks away from playing the oft-delayed sequel. Dying Light 2 promises to bring a fast-paced, first-person, free-running experience in a zombie-filled world. Developer Techland also promised that the choices you make throughout the story will affect the greater world around you, with different factions you can align yourself with. The game seems to be a really innovative experience, and it's just a few weeks until we know whether Techland capitalizes on this potential. Elden Ring is already being positioned as a likely contender for Game of the Year, and we still haven't even seen much of the game in action. Elden Ring is the latest game from the mind of Miyazaki and From Software, with George R.R. Martin assisting on the story. This open-world Souls game will bring a shake-up to the formula that From has created over the past decade, and I can't wait to sink my time into it. Brutally difficult boss battles from wonderfully designed enemies appears to be on the docket based on the trailers, and we are just a few weeks away from experiencing it as it comes out on February 25th. Developer Flying Wild Hog is looking to have a breakout year in 2022 with multiple games scheduled for release. One such game is Evil West, a fast-paced third-person shooter that has you squaring off against vampires as a superhero cowboy. While this idea sounds far-fetched, the trailers have me very intrigued about the potential of this game. Gameplay looks fast-paced, frantic, and gory as you utilize a variety of abilities and can be played in both single-player and co-op. This game is being published by Focus Entertainment as the publisher continues to try to improve their footing in the gaming industry. As of recording, I'm cautiously optimistic on the potential of Forspoken. Developed by the team that made Final Fantasy XV, Forspoken looks to be a kinetic action RPG experience. While watching main character Frey fly around the map looks entertaining, I think the game recently has had some red flags. The story was written by some top-tier creatives including Amy Hennig and Gary Whitta, but the dialogue they have showcased seems a little cringy to me. The game also recently had gameplay shown off and it didn't run great, which has me worried about the final build quality. But the gameplay they showed does look fun to play and it looks pretty different, so I'm excited to give it a chance when it comes to the PS5 on May 24th. Like Deathloop released last year, Ghostwire Tokyo is interesting in that it is technically an Xbox published game, releasing as a console exclusive for PlayStation. A first-person action horror game, Ghostwire takes place on a futuristic Tokyo. A cult leader has caused the population to vanish instantly, and your hero must overcome supernatural forces to restore balance to the city. Developer Tango Gameworks previously made the Evil Within franchise, and this game appears to be less horror-based and more of a mainline action game. This can make the game more accessible to a wider audience, and the game is currently scheduled to come out in spring 2022. God of War Ragnarok looks to bring a more refined and expanded experience to 2018's God of War game. Due later this year, Ragnarok takes place shortly after the last game and features Kratos and Atreus as they continue their journey through Norse mythology. With the fall of Asgard prophesized in Ragnarok, this game has already been confirmed to be the end of the Norse mythology God of War games. I have some burning questions about the plot of this game following the end of God of War 2018 and cannot wait to experience the sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. Gotham Knights is being developed by WB Montreal, who last made Batman Arkham Origins way back in 2013. This game has you playing as 4 different side characters in the Batman universe, having you choose between Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, and Red Hood. This game is going to be an open-world action RPG that lets you play in both single-player or co-op. In this universe, Batman is dead and you must fight the criminal underworld that is rising in Gotham as a result. I think it's an interesting move to focus on these lesser-known DC characters, and I'm intrigued to see how it plays out. While we haven't seen too much of the game yet, I'm hoping that we get 4 characters that play differently from each other, and I hope we get to see that information soon, as Gotham Knights is scheduled to come later this year. When Gran Turismo 7 launches on March 4th, I fully expect it to set the bar for graphical potential on the PlayStation 5. Gran Turismo 7 seems to be packed to the seams with content in this newest entry, with over 400 cars and 90 tracks available upon launch. The game will also bring dynamic weather conditions to the game, which will change the ideal car tuning you need for each course. This game also promises to fully utilize every feature of the DualSense controller, and I look forward to seeing how fleshed out haptic feedback support can improve the experience on a racing game. Originally due to release in 2021, Hogwarts Legacy is another game on this list that I could see getting delayed to 2023. This feels like a game that is almost promising too much, especially since developer Avalanche Software hasn't made a game of this scope before. Taking place at Hogwarts in the late 1800s, this game comes packed with events you could expect from a Hogwarts game, including getting sorted into your house, taking classes to refine your skills, and participating in Quidditch events. I hope it's not too much longer until we see more about this fantastical adventure. Out of all the games on this list, Horizon Forbidden West might be my most anticipated game coming this year. All early gameplay of this open-world action-adventure game presents a massive jump in quality over Zero Dawn, which released in 2017. Protagonist Aloy appears to have a more fleshed-out arsenal of weapons and traversal abilities, and trailers are already showing a more unique set of robot enemies to square off against. If Forbidden West is a hit, it could solidify the Horizon franchise as one of the pillars of PlayStation Studios. I've seen multiple trailers for Little Devil Inside, and I'm still not entirely sure what type of game this is. The art style feels vastly different from anything I've seen before, and the game looks to have an intriguing story based on the character actions seen within these trailers. Previous footage has shown off a wide array of environmental settings on top of some light combat elements. I always love when indie developers try something out of the box, so I'll be keeping my eyes peeled on Little Devil Inside. I'm not entirely convinced this game will release in 2022, and it is another game I can see needing more time and getting pushed to next year. Metal Hellsinger is a rhythm first-person shooter and looks to be one of the most innovative titles releasing this year. Fighting your way through 8 hells, you must shoot through hordes of demons and devils, all while timing your shots to the beat of heavy metal music. If you time your shots correctly, you will deal more damage and the music will grow more intense, allowing you to cause even more mayhem and destruction. I'll be very eager to see how this game plays when it releases on the PS5 later this year. Developer of the Plague Tale franchise, Asobo Studio, is quickly making a name for themselves in the gaming community. A Plague Tale Requiem could be the next step forward for the studio. Furthering the story of Amicia and Hugo from the first game, Requiem appears to be bringing a more combat-heavy experience to the franchise. The rat plague in the first game created some stunning and stressful experiences, and it remains to be seen whether Requiem will capitalize on this momentum. Regardless, I'm excited to play it when it comes later this year. While I'm not sold on the quality of the new Saints Row reboot, developer Volition has an opportunity to capitalize on deficiency in the gaming landscape. Since Grand Theft Auto V released in 2013, there hasn't been a meaningful GTA-like single-player open-world game since. The reboot of Saints Row appears to take the franchise in a new direction as you play as a group of light-hearted millennials. Lawn fans of the series seem displeased with this new direction, but I am cautiously optimistic about this game, and it will be releasing on August 23rd. Sifu is a console-exclusive Kung Fu-focused game that's releasing on February 8th. After your family is assassinated, you set out on a quest for vengeance, and this game will pull you to a variety of settings while you do so, including suburbia and dark hallways of corporate buildings that each present different challenges for your hero. In Sifu, you are equipped with a magical talisman that revives you from the dead if you fall in combat. However, it will age you 1 year every time. This game looks both difficult and innovative, and out of all the indie level releases, Sifu is my most anticipated for 2022. I'm so interested at the idea of an open world Sonic game, and I cannot wait to see more gameplay from Sonic Frontiers. Releasing at the end of 2022, I'm puzzled on how there will be an open world game where the premise of Sonic is going as fast as possible. I'm sure Sonic team has toiled away to figure out how to make an open world game fun with Sonic's ability set, and we are probably just a couple short months away from seeing gameplay on how it will all come together. This game represents a chance to get Sonic back in the center spotlight of the gaming industry, especially after the wild success of the movie franchise. Stray is an indie game being published by Annapurna Interactive, where you play as a cat in a cyber city. With only robots populating the world, your cat protagonist must uncover the mystery that surrounds the city. You will solve puzzles, and there will be adventure-style gameplay as you try to escape the barren city, and you have an accompanying drone called B12 who will help you on your journey. I'm really pulled to the art direction of this game. The world looks so bleak, but it's contrasted by bright neon signs everywhere. I think the cat is also animated well, and I think this game will provide something different for players when it's released later in the year. The second big AAA DC game on this list, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, is being developed by Rocksteady Studios, who made the Batman Arkham trilogy. Giving you a choice of 4 of the most iconic members of the Suicide Squad, you must save the world after the Justice League has been subjected to mind control from Brainiac, and I for one can't wait to decimate the Justice League while playing as King Shark. Gameplay looks fast and frantic, and I'm sure we'll see some epic boss fights against the members of the Justice League when the game comes out, you guessed it, later this year. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands looks to give a shake-up to the Borderlands formula, introducing swords, bows, and magic. Borderlands side character Tiny Tina takes center stage in this game as you play in her Dungeons & Dragons inspired world. This appears to provide a fun refresh to Borderlands gameplay while also taking you to a more fantastical setting. This game could be a great chance for players to get into the Borderlands franchise if they haven't already, while also providing something new and different for long fans of the series. It won't be long before we can explore the worlds that Tiny Tina has created as the game comes out on March 25th. Trek to Yomi might be the most unique game on this list. Developer Flying Wild Hog and publisher Devolver Digital are bringing a unique 2D action game that is clearly inspired by Kurosawa samurai films. In Trek to Yomi, you play as Hiroki as he voyages beyond life and death to keep a vow he made to his dying master. I love the presentation of this game based on what we have seen, in particular the varying camera angles for this side-scrolling adventure. I think Trek to Yomi is flying a bit under the radar right now, but is one of my most anticipated 2022 releases. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified for when future episodes are released. Next up for the show will be a ranking of the PlayStation Studios, and down the road will be reviews for Tales of Arise and Far Cry 6. What PS5 game is your most anticipated? Make sure to leave a comment below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.